Well, welcome back, everyone, to yet another episode of Behind the Anchor. I'm Noah McLane. We are joined by none other than himself, Coach Jim Fleming. Coach, how we doing?
Good, Noah.
Man, we are rocking and rolling. It just seems like our Wednesday sit-downs, it just becomes better and better every week.
I tell you what, the way we're structured Wednesday afternoon is really good, and I look forward to this every week, believe it or not. It's fun to sit here and just talk ball.
I do got to say, every time on Wednesdays, my girlfriend, she says, hey, you're coming home right after class, right? And I said, nope, I got to go sit down with Coach. And she's like, oh, okay, this Coach Fleming, he's taking up some time. I said, well, you don't know Coach yet. Once you get to know him.
I got to meet him, man. I got to see if she moves the approval. You're kind of like one of my sons. I got to make sure you get dating the right type of people.
She's good. She's
okay,
fantastic.
Good. I'll keep you out of hot water.
We'll jump right into some of the quick hitters here. And the first thing we're going to talk music today.
Okay.
And the question to start off is, what do you think music does for players and coaches before a game?
Juice. Love music. It drives me crazy when we're in pregame. And, it didn't happen this year because I asked marketing to make sure it didn't happen. But when we're completing our warm-ups at times in the years past, they would start into the public service announcements. And you talk about deflating.
Yep.
You want it loud, you want it raucous, you want whatever the music is. You just want it to be able to really get you going. And it's kind of what we do. I mean, if you've been to practice, which I know you have, we turn it on from the beginning. We turn it off very occasionally when there's teach periods to be done. But besides that, we're rocking most of the day. And I think that philosophically, I think it helps generate more concentration for those kids to be able to have to deal with the adversity of not being able to hear real clearly, so they have to really lock in. I'm hoping that's the way it is anyway.
Well, that feeds right into my next question. And that one of the greatest things about college athletics is the live band. Now, what does that do, and how does that kind of create a special atmosphere, especially here at Rhode Island?
Well, everywhere, I think it creates a special deal. I mean, I sit here in this office and I can hear, out on the fields, and it goes all the way back to training camp. We're here for a long period of time, and about a week before school starts, you start hearing all the stuff, the drums and the horns are all warming up. And when you hear a marching band, it's just absolutely outstanding. It's everything, like you said, college football is all about, and our guys do a great job.
Awesome. I think one of the best is the Rhody fight song. I know that one at the end of games. We get that going. The Rhode Island, alma mater, that's a good one. But we're going to switch a little bit here. And Mariah Carey has started to defrost. Now, listen, has she puts out Christmas music, as you know.
She put out a lot of other music besides that.
True, but the question is right after Halloween too early to start listening to Christmas music? Because people are saying that they're starting to get whispers of her in the air.
Really?
Uh-huh.
See, I live in a hole. I have no idea. I mean, really, if it's any time up in, about 2 or 3 days before Christmas, I can start getting into that spirit. Because, we got football, then we got recruiting, and then you're sitting there home and you start hearing it. But give me some Mariah Carey anytime, man.
All right. I love that. Now, if you could master any instrument within one singular day, what instrument would you choose?
Sax.
My man. Let's go.
Yeah.
Saxophone.
Sax. You
got it. Yep. I was there's a right answer to that.
That's probably how you know that. That's probably how you got your joke then, man. Honestly, you can play a sax, man. But you know me, but I wouldn't know you because I'd be some club just sitting there playing away.
Oh, man. And if you could start a band, and let's say you're the saxophone guy, or not, what genre would you want it to play?
Dave Matthews. Dave Matthews. I'm a big Earth, Wind, and Fire, you know, Stevie Wonder, all those. But, you know, when you look at a band and watch Dave Matthews start to rock and you see the, you know, the variety of people that are on that stage, you know, it's really cool. I've seen them a number of times in person, and that would be the band, man. Let get up there and let me do my thing, but have those guys behind just jamming. I think that's cool.
He's come to the Ocean Mist a couple times, right? I think so.
He has?
I think so.
I missed that. I saw him.
Maybe it was a tribute band, because I know they do a lot of tribute bands.
Yeah.
But anyway, now if you were a rock star, what's your stage name?
The Flim Flam Man.
Wow. So you were hesitant about the superhero, but you've thought about this.
No, I hadn't thought about it. It really just came up that quick. Yeah, because you couldn't come up with anything probably if I thought about it.
Well, fair enough, and we will leave the music in the past and let's talk football.
That's better.
Because once again, we have just a wild sequence of events to break down from last Saturday. One of the best performances that Devon Ferrell has had so far this season as a passer.
Yep.
You know, what did he show you just regarding his confidence when he was just throwing the rock?
Yeah, I just seen a steady involvement of him. You know, you've seen the same thing. I mean, each and every week he's gotten a little bit better. You know, I think that his ability to operate our offense becomes better and better each week. His understanding continues to grow, and how it's manipulated and used in certain situations. You know, I think he's got a really beautiful throwing motion. I think he can get rid of it quick, and you know, we're going to need that as we go forward in this journey right now for him to continue to do those things. But, you know, the guy's been a clutch player, and, you know, clutch players are, you know, it's part coaching, but it's about the player. I mean, I think he's just got a great demeanor to the game. He really wants to be excellent, drives every day to do that. And we're seeing the results. And, you know, truth be told, as your quarterback goes, usually your football team goes a little bit. And, but he's got a good supporting cast around him, you know, and our running backs can take a lot of load off him, but he's been pretty special to watch.
Well, you just talked about running backs. We're going to jump right into that. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when you talk about the danger of a threat that both Malik Grant and Deion Silas, and honestly now, as we've seen the last couple of games, Devon Ferrell using his legs again, but just talk about how much that, you know, run game kicking into high gear has kind of taken attention away from the box and forced teams to prepare for a multi-threat offense.
Well, I think it's all tied in. I think, you know, just like you're saying, you know, if you try to take away one thing, you're going to be a little exposed in the other. So it becomes a cat and mouse game. But when you're looking at, you know, what we have talent-wise in the backfield, you know, it's pretty impressive. I mean, Deion was going for 7.5 a carry. Yep. You know, and then Malik got in there and started going, and they're a different flavor of back, and it's hard to, you know, go through the game and make sure it's all set up. I'd love to see them both be over 100 yards at some point in time. It would probably be even cooler if you had all three guys over 100 yards rushing the football, but I don't know if that's ever been done. But, you know, we're very, very lucky to have those guys in the backfield, and there's guys that you're not even mentioning that are still ready in the wings, ready to go and get us good, tough yards.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that speaks to the versatility of this offense that has really come alive in the, you know, ongoing weeks of this season. And we're going to touch on another guy, Marquise Buchanan, who we all know that he had that kind of a performance in him, but just kind of having that showcase on Saturday, especially in a game where you're trying to get over that mark that you haven't in such a long time. You know, just what does that mean to have such a young guy like that that's so much talent?
Well, I think, you know, it's great to have young guys with talent, and you got to hold on to them for as long as you can. Now, I mean, you know, there's a lot of credit due, I think, to Murph, you know, in terms of how he moves Marquise around to be able to get him involved in the concepts. Whether or not it goes to him or not is not really a design. It's just a question of reading a football play. But you know, he's a steady performer. But I was most proud of him for was that first ball, you know, the first ball of the game, you know, it went through his hands and became an interception. And he came over the sideline, you know, he wants to perform. And I said, all right, bro, you owe us a couple. You know, you owe us one back now. He said, I got you. then he went about his business, and obviously the rest was history. I don't know, what was it, 10, 14,
Yeah.
14 targets, 10 catches, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you just nailed it. I was going to say, when he came over, he was obviously visibly, upset with himself, but he really turned it around well. And I think, again, that when you talk about just how this team has evolved over the, past few weeks, that speaks to the character of just this aspect of the team. But when you think about, we talk about all these moments that lead up to, and there's a million you can go back to, but 10 plus seconds, a couple remaining in the game, takes the snap, ball goes down, there's a huge pile. And, for a minute, what's going through your mind before you see, and then when you saw AJ Pena come up with that and just absolutely sprint towards that home sideline?
Was it 10 seconds? No, there was more time in the game left at that point in time, I believe, wasn't there? But anyhow, what I thought of, I thought I'd seen the ball. I saw the quarterback's arm coming forward, and I'm going, this could easily be reviewed and considered an incomplete pass. When it went on the ground, I saw it go on the ground. I saw their offensive lineman jump on it, and I said, it looks like they got it. But then I saw AJ jump in there a little late, and I said, if there's one guy going to come up with it, he's going to get that ball. I mean, whatever happened under the pile, happened under the pile. But
yeah.
when he pulls on out of there and rolled out with that rock, it was incredibly significant and gave us an opportunity to win and then keep them off the board.
Yeah, and I worded that question poorly. Meant to say, within that 10 seconds, what was like...
that
was me just wording it poorly.
That was me not paying attention, but that's all good.
But what does it say about the team's in-season player development, seeing players such as Case Mankins, Moses Mace, and just countless others, not only seeing increases in reps, but making just big-time plays?
I mean, it says a number of different things. It says that our staff can evaluate talent.
Yeah.
And we see, Moses Muse coming out of high school and Case coming out of high school, and we see their development. We knew that was coming. It talks about the ability for our coaches to develop them, to be able to create roles with them and let them grow into those roles. Now, I still think those guys are going to be absolute monsters for us in this league for quite some time. And I love seeing that as much as anything. You see a kid who, works, takes the coach and gets ready, and then he's able to produce at a high level. And both of those guys, are getting enough burn to be able to get a real taste of it, and their best days are still ahead of them. And, as we continue to evolve the program, you're going to lose some of those heavy hitters we got in there at the D lineman, and okay, there's going to be Case. Our linebackers, Cole's going to graduate. There's going to be Moses. So, I mean, it really gives you a good feel for, the quality of our program, the ability us to attract good players, and, the ability to be able to go ahead and know that we can continue to have guys prepared once graduation hits you or the transfer portal.
Yep, we'll leave it at that. I won't even go down that road. But
that's the reality of nastiness.
Yeah. Now, we touched on this already a little bit, but that big milestone of win number 8, and just not only to the program, but to you personally, to check that win off and knowing and going after hungrily those more wins than just win number 8.
Yeah, I think you look back over time that I've been here, and I really can almost go right back to 2014, where I looked at every single season that there was 2 games that we could have won more than what we did, which would have put us at 8, would have put us at 9. But, at the same time as we didn't make that step. So last Friday was probably the most uptight that I've been in my college football career. I mean, it was ridiculous. I had to get up before practice. I had to walk all around, and I was anxious as hell. Because it was a significant moment for us to be able to get to that level, get that monkey off our back. And, now we have 3 really tough games ahead, but you get 8 in the pocket. It was like, all right, now we'll play with some house money. But it also tells you got 8. Might as well get 9, might as well get 10, might as well get 11. No, let's go one at a time and see if we can knock off Delaware.
Well, we segments right into that next portion that we're going to talk about, which is Delaware.
What we do, right? We
kind of move well. We got to figure that out at this point, I guess. Yes. And that's you more than me. But you guys have been in a situation similar to this scenario right here, which is a meeting of Delaware with the CAA on the line. Now, the last time that happened was in 2021 when Rhody won 22-15 right here in Kingston. And when the schedule first came out, what was your reaction, kind of knowing that you get one more crack at this Delaware team before their jump to the FBS?
There was a lot of reaction to that because, there was a number of different concessions that we made as a conference to be able to make their last year in the CA special. I was saying, BS, man. They got, more scholarships, then it really shouldn't even be a conference game. Do I want to have another crack at them? Yeah. But, do I want that to impact this race if they've got 77 people on scholarship and we don't have the same kind of numbers? No, I don't like that. I don't like giving them an opportunity to be up in our rankings. It pisses me off. But same time is there a crack at them? Yes. And I want to get that crack at them down there. We went down there the last time, I believe it was 2018. And Juwan Lawson throws this ball up, and I go, no, it was going to go into something. And Tyler Burke comes out of nowhere, grabs the thing, and runs all the way down into the end zone, I believe it was. And we walked away with a win. And that was the game that propelled us into the first winning season in 17 years here at URI. So it's a very significant game. Our alumni don't like Delaware, and it's going to be an interesting game. They're good. They're good. We're going to take our best to beat them. But I'm excited about playing them. But I don't like the circumstances.
No, fair enough. And when you talk about the circumstances, let's lay them out. 8-1 Rhode Island, 7-1 Delaware. First weekend of November. There's a lot right on the line. Just how excited does this make you, and how much does this energize the team, knowing that they have an opportunity to play for something big, but also just taking that mindset of playing it game by game weekend in November?
I mean, I think you're hitting all the right points. I think our kids are very excited about what they're able to do. To me, since Delaware cannot be a conference champion. It really, and I haven't shared this with the kids, and I don't know when they get to see this, but the bottom line is that we need to go down and beat them because Richmond is the other person that's undefeated in conference. They can win the championship. They're leaving too, but different circumstances. And you're looking at, in order for us to be able to become a champion, we need to be able to beat Delaware. So that's very significant, but then it's going to be the same story next week. We're going to have to beat Albany. We're going to have to beat Bryant. So we might as well start with this one. It's going to be tough out, and we'll be ready for it.
And when you think about Delaware's upcoming jump to the FBS, the impact of their game, but just kind of how does that, change your game plan, if at all, for this kind of a team?
It doesn't change the game plan at all. I mean, I think it's a little bit challenging. Right now, you sit there and you look at the rules that the conference has allowed them to do is to be able to submit a roster of 70 people on scholarship. That and then that list needs to be distributed to the conference office. So right now they played 3 quarterbacks. We have no idea who's starting.
Right.
We've seen them all on tape. Each one of them has a little bit different flavor. So that makes the game planning a little bit tougher, and then that's the thing I'm most disappointed about with the concessions we made. But it is what it is, and we'll line up and go play whoever's playing quarterback.
Now, we'll end it with this right here as we go into your guys looking for now your 9th win of the season. If you kind of had to pinpoint 2 things as you go down to Delaware for fans to look for and for your team to take note of to walk out of Delaware with a victory, what are those 2 things?
I think it's going to be, a line of scrimmage game. I think that, that's going to be a very significant piece to it. And then, it's hard to stop it too. But, we can't make the mistakes we made last week and expect to win. We can't turn the ball over. We can't go in and get a kick blocked. So, I mean, as much as any other game, that must sound so boring, but, we got to be able to run the ball. We have to be able to operate offensively, not turn it over. We need to keep explosions off the board on defense, and we need to be able to win the special teams.
But we will see what the there it is, the special teams right there. To take note of, as either if you're traveling down for you to watch for, or if you're watching at home for you to look for this weekend.
Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Anchor. I'm Grace Siorek, and today our special guest is tight ends coach Adam Griggs. Coach, how are you today?
Oh, it's a wonderful day in paradise. How are you?
I'm doing so good. Now we're just going to get into a couple of questions. So the first question is, tell us a little bit about yourself and your football journey prior to coming to Kingston.
Well, I grew up in a small D2 school, Alvern High School in New Hampshire, where I played football there. Got the opportunity to go to Bentley University, a business school, D2 school outside Boston. Always funny, I tell everyone they only took me because I was the only academic scholarship kid in my class, and they were kind of forced like a play date from admissions. But had a great career there, had some great opportunities to go into the corporate world, but kind of fell in love with coaching. So I bounced around between Assumption College, coached at Bentley for a while, was with MIT football before rebuilding the program at University of Rochester, and that brought me back home to New England here with URI.
And going off of that, how have your previous experiences at these different schools have prepared you for your current role here now?
So I've worked with all sorts of different kids, different positions, I think, more than anything. Coaching tight ends, there's just enough in the run game, just enough in the pass game, protections, all this, that you have to have a background on everything that you're doing. I got to, in my career, work against Coach Murphy on the opposite sideline, so I was familiar with a lot of stuff he wanted to do offensively, so being able to walk through and really get into the fine details with him really helped out. But my background, having coached wide receivers, offensive line, quarterbacks, really gave me a leg up, I think, in getting tight ends ready for what we do here.
And going back, you coached at Rochester and MIT. Those are two very high academic schools. How do you put onto your players the academic success and overall time management into your coaching and leadership style?
I don't think it's any different than any other football program that preaches the right things about character, about being a winner, being competitive. Even with URI football, like, we don't just want guys who want to win at football. We want the guys who want to compete at everything. They want to win everything. If I sit a kid down and play a board game with them, I want that kid to try to beat me at it. So when it comes to the academic success, it's the same thing. Are you putting in the same effort, preparation? Are you performing on exam day to the best of your abilities? Everything that these guys are asked to do on the football field has to translate over to academics, and I think we've seen that. When I joined in, it was a big point of emphasis that Coach Fleming and the rest of the staff had said about the improved GPA when we got in here, and I think it's a testament to kind of the building of the character in this program of being great at everything that you put your mind to.
Definitely. Academics is a key part in having that balance is something that's crucial to success. Now, this is your first season here in Rhode Island. What's so special about this Rhody football program, and kind of what drug you to this university?
There were a couple things. One, having a background knowing Coach Laurenti, knowing Coach Murphy, and knowing the type of coaches they are, the type of men they are. I knew that if these two guys were on a staff, that this was probably a place that was going to be competitive. It was going to have an edge. The ultimate goal would be to win. And to be honest, and not just to say that because he's my boss, and it's not completely sucking up, but just so many great opinions from people in my network about Coach Fleming and the way that he handled his players, the way that he handles his program. And from very early in the interview process, you just had that feeling of, if you're coming in, it's not just a 9-to-5 job. You're not just doing this, but he wanted guys in his program who are going to acclimate themselves and be part of the community here, be really ingrained and invested in what's going on with your kids' lives. And that's a program that I've always been a part of, whether it was Bentley or Assumption or Rochester or MIT. Is, as coaches, we wanted to be involved with these kids. And I got that feeling very quickly in the interview process, and that reputation that it has really stood up through my first couple months here.
And then coaching a position such as a tight end position, they kind of do a little bit of everything on the offense. What are some things that you look for in a key player, in a key tight end?
There needs to be a level of understanding. There needs to be a level of composure. We do so much with pre-snap movements, and we do so much in terms of you need to identify the fronts, you need to understand the assignment, you need to understand where you fit in the grand scheme of things, from play to play versus a certain front, certain coverage. So there has to be a little bit of an individual who has some composure. They're not just a hammer hitting the nail. They got to diagnose what's going on and then be able to perform. Looking for athletes, but more than anything, with what we have really kind of established ourselves as a position group is really an extension of our offensive line. We talk about kind of turning it into a fight at the line and sometimes making it ugly, but that requires kind of that initiative in your head that you are going to play to the echo of the whistle. So we look for that grit and that toughness, that tenacity in our position group to go along with everything that we want. And, you know, every now and then when Coach Murph decides that we might throw a ball our way, we got to do something with it. So looking forward to when we start opening that part up.
And then our final question for you today is, we're 8-1. The tight ends have kind of been a key part of the Rams' success. What has been your biggest takeaway and something you've learned from this past season so far?
It's so funny because if you sat back and looked at the stats, you know, it's not like we are the number one across the board in everything. You look at it and how many games we've won when we've been down 10 points. What I'm figuring out is the X factor with this team is that other teams are realizing that it takes a lot more effort to put a team out. To be up 2 scores on us isn't enough. You're not going to finish us off that way. And if you give us an opening, we're going to take it. Whether it's defense, whether it's special teams, whether it's the offense, these guys just play the next play. They stay composed. They execute the assignments. They execute everything that they're asked to do. They stay together. There's no division here. So I think it's going to be very dangerous when all of a sudden we find ourselves up 3 scores, hopefully in these next couple weeks. But this team is going to make you beat us. They're not going to quit until the time is over. They're not going to stand down for it. And I think that's a testament to the huge character of the individuals we have on the team, which is something you look for more than any other metric when you're looking at a college football team or any other stat is, you know, if you have a lead on us, we're still going to keep coming back at you.
And we will see how that works out this weekend. Coach, thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
But that is all we have for you guys this weekend. Of course, always, Coach, thank you so much for your time. We'd also like to give a big shout out to the tight ends coach, Adam Griggs, and one of our interns, Grace, for doing an interview earlier. She stepped up big time, nailed it. So make sure you guys check it out, as we will see you guys next week ahead of Senior Day versus UAlbany. But for now, another episode of Behind the Anchor has come and gone. We'll see you next time.